So hello everyone, in this video we learn about LWC decorators. So in LWC we have three different decorators. First one is @API, then @wire and @track. So all are have a different use case. So if we can talk about @API, so when you want to make your property variable or method in your JavaScript of LWC, when you want to make a public that property, then you can use @API. So by using a @API, you can expose your property or a function from your JavaScript. So you can pass the value or you can call that function from your parent component. So that's a use case of @API. So now let's talk about the wire. So if you want to call a wires adapter, which is a standard adapter, or if you want to call any apex method with the aura enable and with the catchable true parameter, if you want to call any apex method, then you can use @wire. So what happens when you use a wire? So whenever our component is created and inserted into a DOM, so wire function is automatically invoked and automatically executed whenever our component is loaded. So it automatically call our adapter or apex method. So that's a use of wire decorator. And if we can talk about a track decorator, so suppose if you are using any object, it means dictionary or a list of object in your JavaScript, and you can make any changes in in level 3 or level 4 in your object or a list. So and if you are using that list or object in your HTML template, so it cannot automatically reflect that value if you are not using the @track. So if you want to re-render your template, whenever you can make any changes to that object or a list, so if you have to use a @track decorator with the your property which contains the value like object and list. So that's a use case of track variable. Now let's see a practical approach by creating a new LWC or in the existing LWC. So I have already created a LWC component. So let me show you how we can use a @API. So here I have one component which is my first LWC component, and let's create one more component which is a child component for us. So let's give the name, choose the directory, save it. So currently this component is created in local, so we have to deploy this into our salesforce connected org. So we just have to deploy this first. Now we have to use @API. Let me close these files. So first we have to import an API decorator here. Now let's create one property @API message. So let's use this and also create one function print message. And here we print the message in console.log. Okay, like this. Okay, so now using the @API, we make this both element of our class public. So by default, they are like a private modifier, and now it is a public modifier. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to use this child component inside our parent component HTML. So we go for parent HTML and just here, let me use this child component. Okay, let me first give the break here and child LWC. Okay, now suppose there is one button in our parent component. Okay, give the brand, call child method. So handle child method here. Let's create one JavaScript function for this. Okay, so now first we have to get the child component. So for that we use a query selector template dot query selector, and here we have to give the name of our child component. So let's give the name which is a tag name, and from here first we set the value of a message hello from parent components. Okay, now call our print message function, this one. Okay, so now what happened, whenever we click on this button, it first get the our child component element from our DOM using a query selector. Then we set the one message variable, we initialize the variable here, and we call the print message, which is also a public function. So let's deploy this LWC. Also deploy the child again. Okay, so now I have already created a lightning tab here. So let me hard refresh this page. Then we can get our button and message. Okay, so we have a button here called child method, and let's open the console. So let's click on this button. So I have clicked on this button and it brings the message hello from parent component. So that's how at the rate API you can use. Now let's go for the wire decorator. So right now we are using a standard wire adapter, and let me show you. Suppose if you want to get or some like logged in user detail, so first you have to import ID, name, and email field. Okay, so let me show you this on the same child component. Then first we have to actually import wire here. Now we have ID. Let me create one variable, user ID, and give the ID. Now here we have to call this get record method. So first, then we have to import get record, which is our standard wire adapter, which is came from Lightning UI record API. So we can now use this record like this. Let's close this, and here here we have to use user ID. Okay, just let me copy this one, remove this. Now okay, so we have to give the name, fetch user detail, and here we have two parameters, data and error. We have to give the condition of data, else log data, error. Let's save this file. So whenever our component is inserted and load into a DOM, so wire method automatically invoke that function, which is a get record in our scenario. So you can also call a apex method. So if you want to fetch any detail like a product detail or something else, then you can use a wire method when page over load. So let's refresh this page again, and here you can see our data is coming. So here our user object is now fetched successfully, and from this JSON you can get your detail. So so that's how you can use a wire adapter to fetch your data whenever our page is loaded. So let's now talk about track. So I have already created this example, so let me comment this. Okay, so here I have created one example. So we have a person object where we have a three key value pair, first name, last name, city, and I display this person detail in our HTML, person first name and last name. Then we have a one lightning button. On that lightning button click, we have one listener handle click. So handle click is actually changing the first name, last name, and we print our log. So if you are not using a track variable, so this change like a first name and last name is not reflect in our HTML. So to reflect that our changes in our HTML, then you have to use a track decorators. Okay, so let me just deploy this component. our component is deployed successfully. So let's refresh this page. Okay, so whenever I click on this button, so what our logics behind this is we change our person object first name and last name, so we have to reflect that changes in our HTML. So right now when I click on this, if we can check our console log, so you can see here our changes are successfully updated our person object, but it does not refresh our HTML template. So for that, if you want to refresh or re-render your HTML after whenever you make any changes on your object or list, so you have to use the @track decorator. Okay, so just you have to write track. So you have to use track variable, track decorator. So you have to use a track decorator and just write here track and just deploy this. Now let's refresh this page. Let's click on this button, change, and now you can see our first name and last name is changed and updated on our UI successfully. So that's how you can use your track decorator in your project. So these are the main 3 decorators which we are going to use in LWC. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.